Bear with me now. Any second. Okay, onto the juice.
The Matrix is a fascinating story about humanity's struggle to survive. It takes place across two worlds, the Matrix and the real world, which has been devastated by the machines. But more than that, it's one man's struggle to shape the future of a dwindling race. It's a story of survival and love and the terrors of the future, and in this video, I'm going to go about breaking down how you can write a story just like it. Just a warning here. I am going to be looking into the movie in depth, so if you don't want it spoiled or haven't watched it yet, then turn away now. So, after analysing the movie, I've broken it down into 10 distinct parts, and what's more, 10 distinct story circles. Now, for the first act, we'll be covering the first 3 parts, each of them unpacked step by step as we look at what happens both within the story and then again as to what this means on a more fundamental story level itself. I'll also show you how this creates brilliant story, and also you can imitate, learn, and develop your own tales for the better. And, if you have any questions, then please feel free to drop them in the comment box at the end. Now that you know how it's going to flow, let's dive in. Part 1. The Agents Chase Trinity. The first part is very much about introducing the players, and that's why instead of going straight to Neo, it only subtly foreshadows him in. It opens then with Trinity and Cypher talking about Neo as the one, and all as the operator screen dials over. Cypher is expressing his doubts about Morpheus' wisdom, and Trinity can hear the little clicks of the line being tapped by the agents. As a result, she ends the call, and all while the police converge on her position. Outside, Agent Smith arrives, questioning why the lieutenant disobeyed his orders, and that as a result, his men are now more than likely dead. Inside, Trinity makes light work of the cops. She rings Morpheus, who tells her the line has been cut, and which precipitates a chase across the rooftops by one of the agents. The climax of this scene is a standoff between Smith and Trinity. We see her charge for the phone booth, and also she can be pulled from the Matrix and just in time. The agents, however, now have the name of their next target.
The name is Neo.
And which has been given by the informant, who will later find out to be Cypher. Part 1 does a great job of setting up the opposing forces nicely, the balance of power tipped in favour of the agents. It also sets up the hero to come in Neo, and Cypher's betrayal later on down the line. Now this first part is really cleverly done, and when we look at this in terms of the actual story, we get the following. Trinity and Cypher discuss Neo as the one. The police converge on Trinity. The agents arrive. Trinity kills the cops and Morpheus tells her to escape. Trinity is chased by the agents. Trinity escapes just before Agent Smith can crush her, and the agents reveal that the group's next target is Neo. Now, when we compare this with a more fundamental story structure overlay, we can see the following. The subtle foreshadowing of the hero by the Allies. The villain's minions converge on the heroine, causing conflict and setting up the chase. The introduction of the main villains, showing clearly the opposing forces. The heroine is trapped and has to escape. The heroine is chased by the villains. The heroine and the main villain face off in a climax, and where she escapes just in time. And the villains have clear forward direction towards the hero, setting the stage for his entrance. So, how does all this make the viewer care while simultaneously moving the story forward in a brilliant way? Well, it starts by introducing opposition for a brilliant piece of conflict. It introduces our heroine with a bang, and it also very subtly introduces our hero. What's more is that it even more subtly introduces that there's an informant helping the villains, and which will come into play as part of a terrible and yet brilliantly structured tragedy later on. Now, let's move on to part 2, where I'll show you how the Matrix masterfully sets up both the protagonist and his goals. Part 2. introducing Neo and his search for Morpheus and the Matrix. In this part, it's all about getting Neo headlong into the story. It opens with him staring at his computer, which tells him to follow the white rabbit. More than this, however, it opens subtly on his goal, and which is to find Morpheus, the pictures of whom we find flashing across the computer screen. This again is very subtle. It's a not-in-your-face goal, and yet it works really well. Naturally, Neo follows the white rabbit, a tattoo on the shoulder of a woman. This leads him to the club where he finds Trinity, and it's there she tells him that he's being watched, and what's more, that all the answers he seeks are out there, what the Matrix is, who Morpheus is, and that soon these answers will find him. Not yet, however, because first he has to wake up late for work, and which precipitates him getting chewed out by his boss in a scathing speech, and which really brings the entire film story into question. And that is that he will have to make a choice, and in this case, between being a corporate slave or going against the status quo. He's barely back at his seat, however, before a phone is delivered, and which turns out to be the exact Morpheus he's searching for. What follows is another chase. The Matrix likes chase scenes, and in which Neo is too afraid to jump. This leads to him being caught by the agents, and so follows right into his first interaction with Agent Smith as the villain. It's here in the climax of Part 2 where he's interrogated, and which ultimately finds him powerless, his mouth sewn over, a strange looking bug wriggling deep into his stomach, and which is again where we're going to pull this beautiful little story apart, and also we can get right under its skin. Part 2 does a great job of introducing our hero, his dire world circumstances, and his subtle goal to find what will become the mentor. It also gets our heroine right into the story alongside him, wasting no time and so creating a great sense of urgency and pace. And when we look at this in terms of story, we see the following. Neo is searching for answers, and so follows the white rabbit. Trinity finds Neo in the club, pushing his search for answers forward. Neo arrives late to work and gets chewed out by his boss. A phone is delivered by Morpheus, who tells him to follow his instructions. The agents arrive, and Neo tries to evade them, only to fail. Neo is taken away by the agents, and Neo is interrogated by Agent Smith, who puts a tracking bug in his stomach. And when we compare this with the more fundamental story structure we see, showing the hero's goals subtly and providing a sign for him to follow to open up his tale. The hero meets with the heroine, who tells of coming danger while clearly stating his goal for the audience. The hero finds conflict when his quest negatively impacts on his daily life. The hero is contacted by the mentor, who tries to help him escape. The hero fails to escape. The hero is taken by the villains, and the hero has his first touch with the main villain, showing the villain's clear superiority and power. So, how does all this move the story forward? Well, it's clearly laid the foundations for both the hero's journey and his goal, and all while continuously building mystery around the strange and elusive mentor to come. It also gets the main villain involved, fleshing him out and giving him and the hero space to have their first encounter, the same villain our hero will have to tackle in his final challenge. Now, let's move on to part 3, where I'll show you how the Matrix gets our hero out of his normal world and slap bang into the story. Part 3. Neo is removed from the Matrix. Neo awakes in his home from what feels like a dream. However, a quick call from Morpheus has him heading straight to the bridge to be picked up. It's there he meets Apoc, Switch and Trinity in the car, the bug removed from his belly, and which shows him that everything in the interrogation room was actually real. Soon enough, they arrive at Morpheus' safe house. It's at this point that he's really thrown headlong into the story, as Morpheus asks him to make a choice. The red pill or the blue pill. Neo naturally moves the story forward by diving headfirst into Wonderland. After all, it's his goal to understand just what exactly the Matrix really is. There's no way he can stop now. After taking the pill, Neo is led into the back, and where they begin the process of unplugging him from the Matrix. Once released, he finds himself in the collected human farms, the music roaring up for an epic shot, electricity pouring off countless bodies for the machines to harness. In removing the plugs that bind him, he is released, causing an epic water slide moment, and after which is collected by the crew within the real world, and which is where we'll break down the story for Part 3. Part 3 sees our hero finding the mentor, crossing the threshold and so throwing him headlong into finding out the dark truth that lies behind the world. It's almost like a negative rebirth, the dystopian reality of his goal thrown right back in his face. Now, in terms of actual story, we get the following to make the third part work. Neo is called to the bridge by Morpheus. He's picked up by the group and the bug is quickly removed. They arrive at the safe house. Neo meets Morpheus and Morpheus offers him a choice. Morpheus begins to unplug Neo from the Matrix, and Neo is released from the Matrix into the real world. And when we see this through a more fundamental story lens, we see the following. The mentor draws the hero towards him. The allies remove the dark magic of the villain. The hero arrives at the setting of the mentor. The mentor offers the hero a choice. The hero is released from the magical world. And the hero finds a shocking truth upon being released. So, how does Part 3 move the story forward in a brilliant way? Well, we see the hero pitched headlong into the real story through the help of the allies. We meet the mentor who can now truly take the place of his guide, and we set our hero up to discover a shocking truth, one which will change and chart the course of the entire story to come. So, in summary, and if you want to write a first act like The Matrix, then follow the steps above. And if you want to see that same information in written form, then head over to www.wearethestorymakers.com where you can see it for free. And if you like Storymakers on how to write a story like The Matrix Act 1, then keep a weather eye out for the next one, which is sure to come soon. Now, somebody get me a coffee.